I'm very competitive when it comes to Ludo.
Go for your 6.
3. I'm not gonna get it.
There you go.
Go for it. There you go.
Got your 6.
Oh, there you go.
Go for it.
So Summer, you are a maestro of multiple hats. You are a multiple business owner. You are a creative, and you are a mother of 3.
Yes.
So tell me, how do you personally juggle your daily routine and make sure that all of the different designations that you have to fulfill, how do you make sure that you're not falling short anywhere?
I can't make sure. I just try my best.
Yeah.
Starting with doing drop-offs for the kids, and then heading off to work.
Yeah.
And then having to do multiple roles at various times of the day. It's a struggle. It is hard every single day to kind of keep that balance. And
Do you feel like some days you're giving precedence over one thing more than the other?
For sure. If my kid is sick, then irrespective of what work I have, it goes out of the window.
Yeah.
And if I have a deadline at work, then it's okay. Like I can.
Then the kids take a back seat.
Well, yeah, they do actually. No, not a back seat in the literal one. They're always at the back of my mind, and I know I have to be home by a certain hour, because I have to put them to bed. I have to give them dinner. And
there are just certain things that we have to check.
Exactly.
Tick off all of those boxes.
And there's some crucial points of the day. I feel like dropping the kids off myself. I think that is an important part of the day for me.
You're really lucky that one of your places of work it has an in-house daycare, and I think that that's a huge privilege for somebody like you, because there's so many other working mothers who either aren't confident in the quality of daycares, or they don't find something up to their standard. So
or if their workplace doesn't have a daycare. For a long time, even ours didn't, and I think that was something that I really felt the lack of once I had kids.
So what do you think in general about the standard of, or lack thereof, of daycares that are available in Pakistan?
So when I had my first kid, I kind of looked around a bit, and I agree with you that there weren't that many, and again, like I felt like the hours were weird and like kind of didn't get a good vibe. But for my son, I mean, I'm not going to name the school, but I did consider putting him in a playgroup and then keeping him in for the whole day.
Yeah.
It was great because it was much smaller setup and it was more intimate. The teachers were great. I just didn't end up putting him there because I went to have a baby. But
if I went to have a baby.
I mean, that's exactly how it worked out. But because I felt like the few hours I got with him in the morning, he could have been in a program, but I'd rather have spent that time with him at home and kind of just enjoyed him. So I chose not to do that. But I feel like if I had to revisit that decision in light of the work that I have, maybe I would have put him in if I wasn't having the baby, and then I definitely would have considered it. So definitely think there are more options now in the last year or two, but before, when I had my first kid, which is nearly 5 years ago, I felt like there weren't that many options.
But I still feel that there is a shortfall and there is a shortage of available
they're very expensive, or there's always these issues, yes.
But even access to, in-house daycares, within the workplace, I know that so many of my working mom friends, they still struggle with that. And I think that, abroad and other places, it's such a norm that I do wonder how long it's going to take. How long do you think it's going to take for, Pakistan in general to catch up to speed with what's going on in the rest of the world?
It's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while. That's just the harsh reality. Just roll. Just make your move.
This is, I think, your turn now.
Really?
I get lost in conversations.
Okay.
So I think there is definitely scope for it. I think mothers who work, they should hold their employers accountable a little bit and ask and demand for these spaces, because.
Do you think that's also part of the problem, that we're not outspoken enough, or I do know it's changing, but do you think that until and unless everybody creates such a big scene and makes it like a requirement, that nothing's really gonna happen?
So I feel like in Pakistan, a lot of the working women that I know who have kids, their support structure, their daycare is their mother's house. So they'll drop off their kids and then go to work and then maybe pick them up later, and so the nanny or
that
dadi
trust factor is really important.
it
there
is,
as well,
it is for sure. And you WhatsApp or social media, you see like these awful videos of nannies or daycares, shaking the kids. I mean, just scary stuff.
Some of it's horrendous.
Yeah, and if you don't have, I guess in the West they have these, you can monitor through the web with web cameras and whatnot. I don't know how comfortable I'd feel doing that either.
But we have so many electricity problems, we can't really rely on Wi-Fi like that.
Exactly. So I would love for my kids to be able to go to my mom's house every single day, but they travel a lot, and that's why I prefer my kids staying home with my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Because she's just a stable influence. She's there all the time, and she can, structure
her day. I
day.
think we're all super grateful for our mother-in-laws and the things that they do for us.
Yes.
And there's nothing like grandparents' time and love and affection. But Summer, I really also feel like there's a certain level of insanity that our lives entail, both in work and in motherhood. So for you, would you say that you gain sanity from your work and you get more insanity from your kids, or is it a toss-up between the two?
It's a bit of both. Sometimes work can be where I take refuge from the insanity that my kids bring to me. And sometimes it's the opposite. A deadline at work could be just as insane as what my kids put me through. So it both acts as a sort of refuge and as a fuel for the fire.
Yeah, I think it's also it's transient. There are days
there are
and
waves.
times.
It comes in waves.
It comes in waves. Where for me, even I love what I do, and so I don't find myself resenting it. I don't find myself resenting it in a way. It gives me peace, but then there are times where the hours are long and it's super demanding, and the stakes are really high as well, and there's a lot to lose always, because I feel like when I'm working super hard, I'm compromising, my children are compromising, and then if my children are sick and they require the time, then my work is compromised as well.
Sometimes you just have to drop everything for the kids, and it could be vice versa
too. But I find something else interesting. Both of us, you have 2 daughters and I have 1 daughter, and I also, do you somewhere, anywhere in the back of your mind, do you ever tell yourself that you're modeling positive behavior for your daughters when they grow up?
It's hard because I've realized that it's actually it's much easier to pass on your own insecurities to your kids, have body issues or whatever you're dealing with or you've dealt with in your life. You do translate that to your children, so it becomes a conscious effort on my part not to say those things that were said to me, or to behave in ways that are more positive.
But do you feel that by doing all of these different roles and jobs and incredible things that you do, you're empowering your daughters for when they grow up as well, to have an model and a role model, and in some ways a hero as well to look up to?
Yeah, of course. My mother works. She works till today, and my mother-in-law also worked. I feel like I have very, very powerful female role models in my life who've modeled this kind of behavior. I've never seen somebody just... My mother would work part-time, so she would go in and she would do the work, and then she would be here with us. So it just felt like a woman had to do both the things. It was never a...
And could.
Yeah. And so I've grown up with the idea that this is just normal. This is how life is. It's not just about... and kudos to everyone who chooses not to do that either, but how I grew up and the women that I saw around me were working and work till this day. So that's the that's what I want to give for my daughter. She wants to be...
Nothing makes me happier to hear you say that, because the other day my daughter literally wore her sparkly ballet pumps with Green Lantern superhero socks stuffed inside, and I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, but I can be a princess and a superhero. And I was like, perfect. That is
and that's
amazing.
Great. Yeah, exactly.
I was super happy, and I think ultimately that's what that's where the joy is, and that's what makes it so worthwhile.
That's true.
Exactly what we're talking about. That's what we're trying to, those are the values, and that's the ethos, and that's the belief system that we're kind of trying to inculcate into the future
You
generation.
can be anything, I think the kids of the new generation should think differently.
Oh, they're going to be amazing. They're going to be absolutely amazing. I'm excited.
And nervous. Super nervous.